Another aspect of business writing that allows us to write easily and effectively is knowing the language of business. We've been talking about business communication being clear, concise, to the point, and accurate. Let's look at 6 writing tips that will help you learn the language of business and communicate effectively. I have summarized these tips from a helpful book called Writing That Works, that was written by Kenneth Roman and Joel Repelson, 2 top executives from Ogilvy and Mather Worldwide, a leading advertising agency. In their book, they say that many CEOs are frustrated with the volume of poor communication in their companies, and as we have seen, poor communication wastes everyone's time. Let's start with the first 3 tips. Tip 1 recommends using shorter words, paragraphs, and sentences in your business emails. In doing so, your emails will be easier to read and understand, so your reader will be able to quickly get the information they need from your emails and act on it. As shown in the slide, whenever possible, use shorter words with fewer syllables such as now rather than currently and start instead of initiate. Some of my students have felt that this tip dumbs down their writing. Use your best judgment for your circumstances. Where appropriate, use short words in order to help your reader get the information they need to do their job. Remember, business communication is about helping each other get work done. Use vocabulary that helps you to do just that. You also want to shorten your paragraphs to 10 to 11 lines maximum. Why, you may ask? Have you ever received an email that was one long block of black text? What was your initial reaction? Did you jump right in and read it? Probably not. Long paragraphs are intimidating to the reader. So to help the reader read your emails quickly, shorten your paragraphs. This is true for most business correspondence, online or hard copy. You also want to use shorter sentences. Instead of saying, "Keep this report on file for future reference," just say, "File this report." In addition, do you see many semicolons in sentences at work? Not usually. Sentences are shorter in business communication because they are easier to read and absorb. You still want your ideas and sentences to flow one into another, but you want to avoid long, complex sentences that the reader has to stop and figure out, like the paragraph about the alphabet I read to you earlier. Okay, let's turn to tip 2, which talks about using the active voice rather than the passive voice. This approach again saves the reader time because it is clear who or what is doing the action. In the example given, it is clear who is performing the action when you say, "We recommend," rather than "It was recommended." Using the active voice also adds a dynamic flow to your writing, which helps to hold your reader's interest. Now with tip 3, you want to use precise adjectives and adverbs such as overspent by $3,500 rather than very over budget to give your readers specific information that they can act on. Otherwise, they have to go back to the sender, you, and ask what very over budget means. Turning to tip 4, we find an interesting recommendation about avoiding jargon. I would further clarify this and suggest that you avoid any unnecessary jargon. A number of my students have discovered in their jobs that there is a certain amount of technical, business, and/or industry jargon that they need to learn and use in order to do their jobs effectively. If this is true for you as well, then include it in your emails, but eliminate any unnecessary jargon and write in a straightforward manner whenever possible. As in the example given, use "not enough time" rather than "not enough bandwidth," especially if you are working with people in other states or countries. Your company may have some of its own vocabulary that everyone uses. At HP, they actually have a manual about HP jargon. Again, use your judgment. Match your communication style to your company's style, which may or may not include company-specific words or phrases. Looking at tip 5, we see it involves using specific information such as numbers, locations, and countries rather than vague references. In the example given, it recommends saying that our enrollment doubled to 600 rather than our program attracted more students than ever. Being specific saves your reader time because they don't have to email you back for the specific details or go hunt for the information. It also helps prevent any unnecessary misunderstandings. The last tip, Tip 6, talks about explaining to your reader how the information in your email is organized. This is so important that we will discuss it in detail in Chapter 5. In summary, then, you can see that these tips help you to write more clearly and accurately. They also help you to write emails that are shorter, more concise, and to the point, all of which help your reader to get in and out of our emails as fast as possible and get on with their work.